You know the moment you are completely overwhelmed and doing everything yourself. Someone gently says, "Let me know if you need anything," but the word yes gets stuck in your throat. You are exhausted, behind on sleep, and maybe even crying in the shower. Yet when help is offered, you smile and say, "I'm fine, it's under control." You go right back to barely keeping your head above water. Later, you might even get angry at yourself and think, "Why am I like this? Why can't I just accept help like a normal person, especially when I'm clearly drowning?" The truth is, your struggle to accept help is not stubbornness or pride alone. It's usually a mix of survival strategies, beliefs about worth, and old experiences. These experiences taught your brain that needing others is dangerous. Psychologists sometimes call this hyper-independence. It is an extreme form of self-reliance where doing everything alone feels safer than letting anyone come close. Hyper-independence goes beyond healthy autonomy. It becomes a rule your nervous system lives by. If I rely on anyone, I will get hurt, disappointed, or judged, so I must rely only on myself. Many people learned this rule in families where asking for support was met with criticism or neglect. You might have been told you were dramatic and needed to toughen up. If the people who were supposed to help you often didn't, your brain may have concluded that being needy is unsafe. If they helped, but then used it against you, you learned that needing nothing is the only way to stay in control. Others became the helper of the family, the one who listened, fixed, and held everyone else together. Somewhere along the way, they internalized the idea that their role is to support, not to be supported. When you are always the strong one, asking for help can feel like breaking an invisible contract. You have been obeying this contract for years without ever consciously agreeing to it. Perfectionism often sits quietly underneath this, whispering that receiving help means you failed. It tells you that you should have managed better, and that strong people don't need anyone. If your self-worth is tied to being competent, then asking for help feels like exposing a flaw. You worry that it might change how people see you. Anxiety adds another layer by imagining everything that could go wrong. You wonder what if they judge you, say no, or see you as a burden. In that anxious state, staying silent and struggling alone can actually feel safer. It avoids the risk of vulnerability and possible rejection or gossip. Depression can make asking for help feel pointless or undeserved. When you feel numb or ashamed, reaching out can seem like too much effort for support you aren't sure you deserve. All of these threads, trauma, perfectionism, anxiety, and depression, weave together into one story. I must handle everything myself or something bad will happen. The problem is that your life has changed since that story was written. However, your nervous system has not been updated yet. It is still operating as if you are the same unprotected child or unsupported teenager you once were. Research shows that while hyper-independence begins as a survival strategy, it eventually becomes a trap. It leads to burnout, loneliness, and relationships that never get truly close. Refusing help means carrying too many responsibilities and quietly drowning. Loved ones can experience this as distance or rejection. They may want to show up for you, but feel pushed away every time you say, "I'm fine." Over time, this creates a painful paradox where you feel alone, but also terrified of being seen. So if you can't simply decide to accept help, what can you do? Start by understanding that the part of you that refuses help is not your enemy. It's a younger, protective part that still believes everything will fall apart if you relax. Begin by noticing when that protective part shows up. It often says things like, "I don't want to bother anyone," or "It's easier if I do it myself." Label those thoughts gently as protection rather than truth. This is my hyper-independence talking, not the full picture of reality. The second step is to ask if you would offer help to a friend in your exact position. Most people realize they would gladly support a friend and never call them weak for needing backup. This exposes the double standard they quietly apply to themselves. The third step is practicing help in tiny doses long before you reach a full crisis. This allows your nervous system to slowly learn that letting people in does not lead to disaster. Ask a coworker to proofread one email or let a friend pick up groceries when they offer. Tell someone, "I'm having a rough week. Could we talk for a few minutes?" At first, these small requests may feel almost physically uncomfortable. It feels as if you are breaking a deep, unwritten law about how you are supposed to survive. When that discomfort appears, try saying, "I'm safe enough to experiment right now. My worth is not shrinking just because I need support." The fourth step is choosing carefully who you practice with. Ideally, choose people who have shown consistency, kindness, and respect for your boundaries. Attempting vulnerability with dismissive or unreliable people can reinforce the old belief that help is dangerous. Reframing what help actually means is the fifth step. Accepting support is not the opposite of strength. It is a different expression of it. It is a form of strength that values sustainability over image. Healthy independence is the ability to stand on your own when needed. Toxic independence is insisting on standing alone even when your legs are shaking. Research shows that people consistently underestimate how willing others are to assist. We also overestimate how negatively we will be judged for asking. Your brain predicts humiliation where reality is far more likely to offer empathy. It can also help to notice how refusing help affects the people who care about you. Often they feel shut out, useless, or worried. Allowing someone to support you is sometimes a gift to them as much as to you. It tells them you trust them enough to let them matter. Practicing small acts of receptivity builds an internal bridge toward interdependence. Interdependence recognizes that human beings are built to share burdens. We are not meant to carry every load alone until we collapse. Healing from hyper-independence often involves grief. You grieve the times you genuinely had no one and the help you should have received. You grieve the years you coped by pretending you didn't need anyone. This makes room for the belief, "I can survive alone, but I no longer have to." This shift doesn't happen overnight, and you will likely slip back into old modes. That's normal for a pattern that once kept you safe. What matters is noticing sooner when you're drowning and choosing to reach for a hand. Each time you let someone in, your nervous system updates its file on what is safe. Asking for support starts to feel less like failure and more like a normal human thing. You remain capable, resilient, and strong, but now your strength includes courage. It is the courage to say, "I'm not okay. Can you help me with this part?" The day you can say that without apologizing is the day your independence stops being a cage. Next time you catch yourself refusing help, ask what the old survival rule is protecting. Ask yourself, is it safe enough to let someone in today?